Hello everyone and welcome to this creative challenge, Adobe Illustrator edition. I'm Izzy, brand designer from Ottawa, Canada, and I can't believe that today is actually our last creative challenge of the month of March. It went by so fast, and I kid you not, today is my favorite poster design out of all of them. I think it's because it's the colors, but I'll let you decide which one is your favorite. And looking at our project today, we will be text wrapping onto a 3D object. So 3D donut for this one specifically. And let me just show you the end result of our poster. Or this is what we are aiming for. But this is definitely something that you will have to do a few before finding the proper adjustment and like just finding that perfectly refined poster design. You will see what I mean. So without further ado, let's hop over to Illustrator. And of course, you have access to the presentation that I have just showed you into the downloadable files. And you also have access to this file that you can see right here. First thing that I want you to notice is obviously the size. So we have been working in 11 by 17 for the full month of March. And it's just a standard poster size. And for the core text, I mean, we don't have that much text, but we always were using one or two font to be kind of the star of the poster, and then everything else was in Elsa text. Elsa text is actually an Adobe font, and it's my favorite. It's just perfect. Like when you look at it within a paragraph setting, it's just perfect. I mean, that's like the proper balance that I look to find for paragraph fonts like so, but also indivisible, and I can never say it properly. Indivisible, yeah, that's it. Which is the other font that we will be working with today, which is the star font of the poster, is also on Adobe fonts, and it's the black version here that we will be using. So hopping back into our file, I also want you to notice that we are still working with a famous quote from a woman designer, which is Lilla Vignelli, which I actually don't know that much about. I will need to do some more research, but I think that this quote is perfect. So first thing, I know that I want to have the word everything being the star of the poster. So I'm going to copy that and just bring it on the poster itself. Right now it's in Elsa text, and I want that to be in indivisible. And if you click here, the three dots for more option, all caps, and in black. I want to make sure that I have a copy of that I can always go back to and reference. Specifically, if you are in the exploration phase of the design of your poster, this is just like good practice, so then you don't have to start over, type everything back. Now, I want to create a pattern of everything, but I want to have a lot of control. So I won't go into the pattern feature. I'm going to make it myself. So I just want to repeat this. So you can either copy and paste like so, or if you select everything and just hold your option key and slide down, and I believe it's Alt on a PC. See how you can copy very easily, but I don't want to do that right away because I want to make sure that this is aligned and distributed evenly. I'm happy with this, and I want to make sure that it's somewhat tight together, not that much padding, enough padding so we can see. Actually, I think that I want it to be a little closer. These are important decisions to create your text wrapping within the 3D donut later. So just want to make sure it's tight, like so. Again, making sure it's aligned and then distributed. Perfect. I'm happy with this. I'm going to group it. I can do Command G or go to Object and Group. Right now it's saying ungroup because it's already grouped. And now I'm going to duplicate that like so. And again, making sure that it is aligned. And for this, I'm going to align it in the center. Having this gap in the middle is a good thing because we want to be able to read the text once it's applied to the 3D donut. Perfect. Again, I want to make sure that I can reference this later, so I'm going to copy it and bring it outside of the artboard. Now I want to expand this, so basically create an outline so it will no longer be text, it will be an object, a vector object. So if you want to do this quickly, you can just make sure everything is selected, do Command Shift O for outline, and as you can see, now it is no longer text. Or you could also go to Object and Expand. So perfect. So we have this here. And again, just because I want to be able to reference this later, specifically if I do a lot of exploring, I'm actually going to put it at the bottom. And the way that you know which one is which is because you can see here the blue outline around everything. And if it's text, you see the line underneath of the word. All right, now I have to think about the colors that I want to be using. For this one, I think it would be super cool to go into a bright neon. So I'm just double clicking on this square over here and I'm going to select, this is more of a lime, but we'll need to adjust a little bit. Just want to make sure that it's like very neon and punchy. Actually, this is pretty good over here. Also going to keep that on the side. And I want the outline for that one. So I'm going to just bring the color here on the stroke and then remove the fill color. Again, bringing that as backup. All right, so now this is where the magic happens. We will turn this into a symbol. So if you don't have the symbol panel over here, you can go to Window, Symbols, which you can see here, and it's really easy to turn something into a symbol. But here you want to pay attention to this menu. So you want to make sure that this here for export type, it's a graphic and it is a static symbol. And we will name it everything neon green outline. The naming does not necessarily matter, but it's just if you want to keep your symbols organized. And then press OK. The reason why I kept copies of this is because once it is turned into a symbol, as you can see, it has that plus sign in the middle, and then you cannot change its color. You cannot change it. It's going to stay like this. So that's why it's good to have everything else as a backup. And whatever happens outside of the artboard stays outside the artboard, so it's totally okay if it gets messy. Okay, so again, putting this on the side. if you wanted right away, actually, let's make another symbol so then we can explore what this is going to look like. So I'm just gonna make another one. And oh, see, this here is the symbol icon. So I'm going to do the same thing. Make sure it's graphic, static symbol, everything neon green. Okay, perfect. I'll keep my symbols just on this side. Keep it on this side here. Awesome. Now, this is where the magic happens, and you need to pay close attention just because it's a little hard to find everything just because it is from the classic Illustrator, which is so cool that we can still do this. Okay, so if you go here into your shapes and you want to do the ellipse, you want to do a circle, not too big. I'd say like so. I actually want to make this black. This is actually going to determine the color of your donut. Press OK. Then you go into effects, 3D and materials, and see at the very bottom here you have 3D classic. It's very important that you go into the classic version and then revolve classic. Click OK. And then you have this menu that is going to appear. Now, the first thing that you want to do, as you can see, it has already put your shape into a 3D. So now it's not necessarily a donut just yet. So you need to work with the offset, and you can do maybe 100. This is going to create a hole in the middle. And see, as I'm moving the cube here, this is basically the not the perspective, but just the axis of how we're seeing the donut right now. Just want to make sure we're finding like an interesting position. I like that. And then you can go into map art. And in order to see everything, I forgot to mention that you want to make sure that the preview here, this is checked. So then you can see basically what is being applied onto your donut. So we go here into symbols. This is why it's important for you to do the symbols first. You go on, click onto that drop down menu, and as you can see now, you can find your symbol. So right now it's being like it's over here. You can just do a simple scale to fit like so, or you can also scale it yourself. When you do scale to fit, if you're very finicky like I am, it's actually going to stretch your fonts, which you maybe don't want. But again, it's being stretched no matter what because it's on a donut. So you can definitely, like it's okay. But I want to be editing it just a bit. And also, as you can see, we have that gap in the middle, and here we don't. So I just want to make sure that we recreate that gap from the middle on both sides. So then here, it won't look like everything is in a clump and then has this big gap. So this needs a little bit of playing around, and it's definitely a trial and error. I'm going to show you my file that for like to achieve the poster that I showed you at the beginning. I'm going to show you this file because like I think I did maybe 15 donuts before finding the proper donut that I wanted to use. As you can see, like we have this gap here that I don't like, and that's because we have this big gap in the middle. I'm just like trying to we'll say that this is okay. And the reason why it's good to have your symbols before, it's because it's really hard to go back onto your donut after and edit it. So if you want to try a few things, I'd say just do all of your symbols before. And as you can see now, you can still apply your text like so. Actually, let's use this one. This one is pretty cool. Let's do something different for the poster design than the final one. Okay, once you're happy with this, you can click OK. And this is kind of the only time where you can go back and map art again or change some stuff. And maybe change the angles a little bit, like so. I'm happy with that, so let's click OK. All right, and now, I mean, how cool is this? I'm very happy with this. All right, so let's put that to the side. Now let's apply a background color to our poster. So just by creating this shape here. So here, if you want to make sure that it is the proper sizing, you can always go to properties. And as you can see here, into the transform menu, you can see here your width and your height. I'm just a little over 11 by 17. And then you can align your shape perfectly. That is so bright and neon. I absolutely love it. Now I'm going to lock this. All right. So how do we want to put this quote? And I think we don't need to have the everything because the everything is repeated. Just going to copy that. It's definitely too big right now. I'm going to make that smaller. And also in all caps and maybe in bold. You want to be able to read it specifically on a color that is, you know, may give you a headache after a while if you look at it too long, because it is very bright. Going to separate this line and I'm going to add dot 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 and dot 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 for this as well. So I think we can do something like so. And then let's have fun with these that we have created. Let's put them black. And I think for this, it would be cool to do a mix and match. So let's just flip them around like so. And again, I want to make sure that this is centered. So I'm going to just highlight them both, align it. Same thing with this. And I want to make sure that it is also aligned within each other. And it wasn't, so I'm happy that I did this. And then group it. Group this. Now, oh, it's not at the front. Like if I go here, because I've added this background color after, so I want to make sure that this goes at the front. So I'm going to go to, just selecting these, going to arrange, bring to front. And let's have fun with the positioning. So this is what I mean by this is going to take some trial and error, not just for this, but also for your donut, your 3D donut. This is actually hard to say for me, 3D donut. It's a mouthful when you're French, trying to speak good English for sure. I actually don't like this here, but let's see what we can do. I just want to give you an idea, and this I also need to bring at the front of how this is looking. So see here, technically this donut is a little small. We can definitely bring it bigger, but as you can see where we have put the symbol, it's staying put, right? It's staying static. So this is what I mean by you want to make sure that you kind of like have these as a backup to try new colors and stuff like that, because you need to start this process over and over again. Also, if we bring it smaller, it's going to keep that offset in the middle, so that hole, and the donut is not gonna be as chubby as what we had like at the start. So this is why this is definitely a trial and error process. But that's okay, because that means that we can quickly do another one. So again, creating a circle, making sure it's black. You know what? Let's invert it. Let's have this green, and I will actually make this into a symbol. So your symbol, graphic, static symbol, everything, black, fill, and outline. Okay. My symbols are all here. Making sure that this circle is being selected. Go to Effect. So because you actually have done this before, you can go back here. It's remembering the last choices that you have made. So you can just go to Revolve Classic. That's actually quite cool. Tone on tone. I really like that actually. So let's here maybe make this a little bigger. You know what? I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to make that circle bigger, because the width of your Illisp, your circle, will actually determine how big your donut is going to be. So again, making sure that this is selected, Effect, go back here, and you can still map the art differently. So I'm just going to bring this so we can see the donut really well. This is fit. This is quite cool. I just want to see what it looks like with the black. Scale to fit. I think it's more fun when it's tone on tone. Yeah, this is really fun. I'm just going to make sure the font isn't too stretched out. I like this. And what I like too with this is that we can see everything, like we can read it really well. So, all right, I'm happy with this here. And if we bring it at the front, we can move these underneath. And I think now we can just have fun with the positioning of the quote itself. I think this is too big. This is why I'm not liking it. Let's put it maybe, yes, that's a lot better. Oops, don't want to do that. Don't want to stretch the font. This is actually a big no-no, technically stretching fonts. It's a big no-no within like good design. So you don't want that. Actually, going to ungroup this. And I want to align it with these over here. So just aligning that. Then I want to align this together. Now I'm very happy with this. And because we have made those decisions, I need to, oops, bring this at the front, arrange front, I can just use my eyedropper and it's going to remember the typesetting that I have selected for the quote itself. I'm going to bring this here because technically here we're reading everything as part of the quote. Like so. And again, I want to make sure that this is aligned. Perfect. And here, same thing. I'm going to, so I already have my rulers here that are showing, but if you're not seeing it, you can just do Command R. See how I'm now seeing the ruler, and I can just bring down a guide. So that's another good rule with design, is like the eye really knows when things are aligned or not. So if you want to be a good designer, align your components, and that goes for everything. It does not have to be only for posters. It could be for brand design, like whatever that you can think of. Aligning is your best friend. And it doesn't have to always be aligned like perfectly at the bottom or at the top. You could also align like this. It's still aligned with this line here. This might be a little weird, but I would actually align it with this here. Just want to make sure that it's perfectly aligned. So these are good rules to follow on alignments. And then this is too high. Just going to bring it down like so. Again, making sure everything is aligned when we move, when we move everything. And once you're happy, you can also group. I'm going to group it. And it has brought everything at the front, which I actually don't hate. This is a different design and I'm very happy with it. Now I have grouped everything and I want to make sure that it's centered within the poster, like so, and there you go. So this here is our final poster. I mean, how cool is this? And like I said, have fun with it, have fun with color. This is all of the trials and errors I have done before finding this final design here. So thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see what you will do in Discord with this. And until next time, thank you so much, everyone.